on Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I-95.5 FM.
And streamed live, on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page, and YouTube channel.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and to everyone listening across the globe. You're locked into Eye on Dependency on I-95.5 FM, and we're also streaming live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. I'm God.
And I'm Natasha. And today isn't just any Sunday. Today is our Father's Day special, and once again we are teaming up with Rise Maximum Radio to bring you voices you rarely hear, fathers behind bars and the families who still love them.
We're talking real emotions today. Regret, growth, connection, and the hope that something good can still come out of pain. You'll hear heartfelt letters from behind prison walls and honest conversations with two men who's serving long sentences and are still trying to be present as fathers.
So stay with us, whether you are driving, if you're at home, or if you're tuned in online on Facebook or YouTube. This is Eye on Dependency, and today it is all about the fathers.
And to continue to drive home this message, when we do these types of programs, it's not for fun, it's not for encouraging people to commit crime or endorsing what they've done. This is a prevention reduction program. So whatever comes out of these microphones is in that sphere of reduction, prevention. And any father who's listening to this broadcast this morning, these folks we have in studio here can tell you without any shadow of a doubt what it's like to be away from your family on Father's Day, especially. That's the idea behind this, and that's all to it. We always, again, recognize the victims who lost their fathers as a result of crime. And we commiserate with them, of course, and we understand your pain. We have citizens, once they've agreed to turn their lives around, then the most we can do is support. My mind goes to Andrew Douglas.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Andrew Douglas was a father, and while he was in prison, he lost his son. So he has two sides of the story to tell. And of course, we have in studio with us Steele and Agard from Rise Maximum Radio. Folks, good morning to you all.
Pleasant good morning, Garth, Natasha. Thank you so much for having us. Of course, we must say a pleasant good morning to the Acting Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Carlos Carraspi. Good morning to you, sir. Happy Father's Day. Not forgetting our Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Bruce. Good morning, sir. I know that you are locked on here, so happy Father's Day to you as well. Trinidad and Tobago, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
All right, and Mr. Steele, say hello to your listeners.
It's a pleasure, as always, being part of this program with Garth and Natasha. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Wish you guys have a wonderful day. And I hope somebody cooked for them.
We will get to that.
We'll get to that shortly.
Before the end of the show.
But in studio as well, we have with us Pernell Martin and Adish Maharaj. These are two fathers who are convicted, and they are in studio with us. You will hear from them in due course. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning, teacher and everyone.
And we We want to hear from them today and what they can say to adults out there, even the youngsters who we've seen on videos sharing left, right, and center in Trinidad and Tobago here about, how it all comes to realization after you've committed that offense and after you've done, what happens after that? It is not what you think. It's worse than that. So let's go to that quick break. And when we return, we start with the first segment. And for those of you out there who know someone who should be listening to this program today, please inform them. You're listening to Dependency. We'll be back.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Dobson here from HMP London. Can I speak to Mr. James, please?
This is Mr. James speaking.
Thank you. Can you hold the line? I have a call coming through to you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, yes, Brian?
Daddy, I'm just calling to tell you that locked up in the UK for drug trafficking.
Oh, yeah? You lock up? And you tell me I was going to Tobago? And I tell you about them boy I was liming with? Well, all right. Don't drop the soap. Carry out.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM.
Airport staff in the Dominican Republic are intercepting cases of human trafficking.
Desde el año 2023, nosotros hemos sido capaces de reportar más de 25 casos que han generado investigaciones. De estas investigaciones,
get everything sorted out before we continue, so we can start in studio here until we could get this technical issue sorted out. So as I indicated, Pernell Martin, who's doing 19 years so far, and Adish Maharaj, 17 years. Now, Adish is one in the video as well. Right. So you will hear from Adish. You will get to see inside of Rise Maximum Radio's radio station in the studio where Mr. Maharaj was interviewed by Mr. Steele, and it's a very, very touching interview. As a matter of fact, his daughter wrote him a letter and telling how she feels about him not being around. So I think we've sorted it out, and we can go to that break and return with our Dependency. So stay right there.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Dobson here from HMP London. Can I speak to Mr. James, please?
This is Mr. James speaking.
Thank you. Can you hold the line? I have a call coming through to you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, yes, Brian?
Daddy, I'm just calling to tell you that locked up in the UK for drug trafficking.
Oh, yeah? You lock up? And you tell me I was going to Tobago? And I tell you about them boy I was liming with? Well, all right. Don't drop the soap. Carry out.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM.
Airport staff in the Dominican Republic are intercepting cases of human trafficking.
desde el año 2023, nosotros hemos sido capaces de reportar más de 25 casos que han generado investigaciones. De estas investigaciones hemos calculado alrededor de 45 víctimas que han sido rescatadas desde el aeropuerto. Dentro de ellas, casi la mitad son menores de edad.
Most of the victims are young women attracted to the country by exciting but fake job offers in luxury resorts, restaurants, or bars.
la República Dominicana es un país de origen, tránsito y destino, ha sido reconocido por nuestros reportes nacionales de las autoridades del gobierno.
A common mode of transportation used by traffickers to bring their victims is air travel.
Los aeropuertos son la entrada y salida del país y es el primer punto de contacto entre la víctima de trata de personas y su victimario.
Airports unintentionally facilitate human trafficking. It is vital that airport staff can detect cases of this crime. UNODC provides airport staff and national police officers with specialized training on how to detect and respond to potential cases of human trafficking in airport terminals.
Gracias al acompañamiento técnico de UNODC, nuestro personal aeroportuario es capaz de discernir entre un caso de trata, un caso de tráfico, un caso de explotación sexual comercial de menores de edad, que hoy en día nosotros en esta terminal podemos decir que somos capaces de identificar, registrar y reportar casos de trata de personas a las autoridades correspondientes.
Join us this Sunday, June 15th for episode 24 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
It's that time again.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Daddy. I thank you, Lord, for this day to call on to you.
This Sunday, Garth and Natasha team up with Rise Maximum Radio for another Father's Day special. We will share the usual greetings from behind the prison walls and from families on the outside. You will also hear heartfelt letters written to incarcerated fathers from their children. Officers Steele and Agard will be in studio, accompanied by two men who have spent the past 17 and 19 years in prison. Listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit, Ministry of Homeland Security brings you Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency, and we're going to get straight into the audio clips that we have, Garth.
Yes. So we have a letter to my dad, and it's three children doing letters, and they're explaining what it's like to be away or having lost their father. So this means, and then of course we have Mr. Pernell and Maharaj in studio with us. They are presently, up to this point in time, 19 and 17 years respectfully convicted prisoners. So let's go to that. Letter to my dad, Adish. Let's hear what his daughter had to say.
For the past 17 years, I grew up without both my parents in my life. At the age of 5 years old, I learned what was heartbreak, and needless to say, I had to experience it from both my parents. On May 25, 2009, my life changed when I learned that my dad wouldn't be coming home to us. As a little girl, I asked myself if it was my fault that my dad left, or if my dad would ever come back home. I lived with my mother for at least 2 years, which was not the best, to 1 year later living with my grandmother. It took me 15 years to realize that asking for my mother's love was way too much. I had no choice but to accept it and move on with my life. Every year for my birthday, my only wish was that my dad gets released from prison, so I could spend whatever little of my life that is left with him. I grew up without a father figure in my life. Having each birthday come and not being able to celebrate it with him is very depressing. Having to experience certain milestones in my life without my dad at my side is very heartbreaking. To hearing my cousins wish their dad Happy Father's Day is very sad, knowing that I don't have my dad to spend Father's Day with and to practically spend the day seeing friends and family with their dads. Having graduations and being appointed head ambassador, and to know that my dad is not even in the crowd to cheer me on or to even have someone to have pep talks with is distressing. In a girl's life, their dad should be their best friend, their first love, and their safe space. But to me, my safe space is in a dark room, just looking at the starry night sky and just remembering the best moments of your life with my dad. As a young woman, growing up without a father is very hard. Having to experience your teenage years going through the most physical changes and dealing with a lot mentally. But in my life, it was more than just physical changes. This was where I had to be the backbone for both my brother and I, to show him how to be strong as a young man, growing up and to be a mother figure in my brother's life. Trying to shield him from a lot of pain, only to realize that I was causing myself mental, physical, and emotional pain. Growing up without my parents has changed me drastically as a woman. Having to always be strong is very hard. To having to get up every morning and go about my daily life as though everything is normal, when in fact I'm breaking down deep inside. It's been 17 years, Dad. I would say this has been the hardest part of my life. I would climb every mountain, swim every ocean just to have one more birthday, one more Father's Day, one more Christmas with you. I would give up anything in this world to have my dad back in my life, even if I get to experience it one more time. Just to have this memory with you, Dad. I wish I could turn back the clock to experience my last birthday with you. My heart bleeds just to have you in my life one more time and to experience what it's like to have a man in your life that would protect you, teach you, love you, and to always have my back.
So that was Adish's daughter, and we're gonna talk to him a little bit about his experience with fatherhood before and after incarceration. Good morning again, Adish.
Good morning. Yeah, and
He's
later on
very
you will.
emotional as we can imagine, because that his daughter reading that letter, she was very emotional too while reading it.
And later on, you will see Adish in studio, RMR studio, with Mr. Steele sitting for an interview. But he's going to tell us now, every time you hear that letter, Adish, how do you feel?
It's really, really touching. And hearing it, I realize how much pain that I have caused to my children. It's really touching. I know they would have been affected a lot, but actually hearing it, yes, I understand a lot more now. What I have done over the years is try to keep in contact with them and try to speak to them a lot and things, and it has bear fruits basically because I have kept in contact with my children. I have a good relationship with my daughter, and I think, I always tell her I cannot make back up for lost time, but going forward, honestly, I would do my best.
No, it has been 17 years. How much of a stretch you have again?
I have like 3 years and 8 months again.
So when you went to prison, how old was she?
She was 5 at the time.
5?
Yes.
And you miss a lot of
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it would have been difficult for her to understand.
Yes.
Because as she said, she thought it was her fault why you went around.
Yes. And I hear in that day, it helped me to understand as well how delicate her mind was at the time, because I'm thinking, why would she think that it was her fault? You understand?
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and it's not easy seeing grown men cry. There's nothing wrong with it, because we've been told that we need to be strong and we shouldn't cry, and I never really adapted that process. I cry when I have to cry. No problem with that. The thing is, in hindsight, I sit many times and ask myself why and what made me, but it is what it is now, and we just have to try and do better as we go forward. So if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and that was Adish's daughter. You will see him later on as he sits with Mr. Steele, telling a little more and elaborating a little more on his time in prison and how he got there. Now, let's go to B. This one is anonymous, but let's hear what this daughter had to say to her father, and then we will hear from Mr. Pernell's daughter in a moment. So let's go to that.
Dear Dad, growing up without you wasn't easy. In fact, I didn't grow up with either of my real parents. I was raised by people I wasn't even related to. And even though my mother was still present in my life, I never lived with her. That alone made things feel distant and complicated. Things were hard financially too. My mom never went to get government help to support me. She's always been very independent and didn't want anyone thinking she couldn't manage on her own. Because of that, there were times when things were rough. But through it all, I had someone who stepped up. My stepfather may not be my biological dad, but in my heart, he's been a real father figure. Even though I didn't live with him and my mom, he always made sure I had my school books and everything I needed. He supported me in ways that helped shape the person I've become. Still, there were moments, quiet ones, when I would wonder about you. At one point, I even asked myself if maybe you had passed away and I just didn't know of it. I had no connection to you or anyone around you, and that made it feel like you were completely gone from my world. I never really cried about it constantly because I had someone who did fill the role in some way, but I'd be lying if I said I never broke down over it, especially when life felt heavy or I was just tired of feeling that empty space. To be honest, I can't say I really missed you growing up because I didn't know you at all. You went away when I was just about 3 years old, and I have no memory of ever seeing or connecting with you. For most of my life, you were just a name I heard, not an actual person I knew. But even with all that, I did feel a longing, a curiosity. I wondered who you were, what kind of person you might be, and whether you ever thought about me. At times, I felt like maybe you just didn't want to be a part of my life. I later learned that you had tried to reach out, but back then I wasn't sure if it was genuinely you. There's nothing specific I've always wanted to say, but I do have hopes. I hope that over these past 15, 16, 17 years, you've taken the time to reflect on your actions and the choices that led you to where you are. I hope you've thought about how those choices didn't just affect you, they affected your children also. And more than anything, I hope that when you do get your taste of freedom again, you'll come out different, better, stronger. I hope you'll use whatever time you have left to do good, to stay free, and to make your life mean something outside of those walls. You still have a chance to turn things around for yourself and for those who care.
Yeah, that was
Whoa.
really insightful comment. We don't. Could you tell us who?
Not only that, she tap him up.
Yeah, I mean, in all respects, yeah, very insightful and good advice too.
Imagine you as a senior person listening, your child telling you this.
Yeah.
Still tell us about this one.
Sage advice.
The backstory to this is a unique story because she met him for the first time at the age of 16 in prison. The story was that we went to a mentorship program in a school, and during the break time, a student came to me and asked, she said, if we work in maximum security. I said, yes. She said she have a friend with a question. Saw this girl coming, tears in her eyes, and she said that, she asked me his name. Do you know that person? I said, yes. She said, well, she was told that's her father, but she never met him. And she wanted to know how possible it is that she could visit him. So after the program, we contacted the commissioner at the time, and he contacted the welfare department, and they arranged for a visit. And they met for the first time 2 years ago in prison. So he knew she exists, but she was told from a tender age her father had died. And she said at about 12 or 13 years, her mom told her the truth, that your father is in prison. But she don't know which one of the prison he in. And she said she tried a couple of times and was no help. So, but by chance that day, we just happened to be there. And she was brave enough to ask the question. Happened to be working MSP, know who the guy was. And we arranged and they met. So, every Father's Day from since then, she visit him. But she said that she would like to get to know him better, but all she knows is prison life with him. And
the best part about that, though, is the first time they met, I think she completely forgave him. Because she was, automatically, because I mean, she's seen her father for the first time. I think she was one of the happiest child then. I mean, you see it on her face, she cried. And she just held on to her father like, if you know what I mean, like, oh my God, it's like the best thing ever. And you know, as I said, as Mr. Steele said, that was 2 years ago, and that relationship remained. You know, she always comes and visits him, and every time she comes, it's like, you know, like she just can't wait for him to come out to build that relationship.
And she told us that she had $1,200 saving in the bank for something special, and she took it out that day and she brought it.
And she spent it on him.
With no, she was just happy to do that. All her money from the bank, she withdraw it. So you leave her $20 herself.
Nothing. She just
she took all, she worked with it and she spent all on it.
That is very rare, though.
Yes.
For a child growing up thinking that your father has passed away, and then learning that he's alive but he's in prison, and who wanting to meet him. Was he aware that she was told he had died?
He knew at the time that the mother, they separated. They didn't want nothing to do with each other.
Right.
So being macho, he said, all right, she had a new husband at the time, so let he mind that child. That was his exact words.
Okay.
And he said that he thought about it, but he never made no attempt.
Right.
To
kind of gave up on that.
To give up on that, yeah.
Wow. She is an amazing human being to open herself up to that.
What she asked that day is if we not tell him that she was coming. So we tell him, hey, you have a visit, you dress up, everything comfort, expecting to meet somebody else. And met her.
And I suppose he broke down as well.
Broke down in tears.
Wow.
How long is he in for?
He in prison for the last, I think, 16 years. Yeah, I think he makes 16 years already.
I think within 2 years he'll be leaving prison.
Okay.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Wow.
Yeah, and the advice that she gave, now what she said to her father was really, like I say, sage advice, sage words of wisdom from someone so young.
You know, most of the times we always hear about the persons incarcerated, but we never really hear about their families and how it has, you know, they being incarcerated, how it has affected their family. So that's why we wanted to do something different. So now hearing, I mean, Adish, for the first time when Adish heard, we had to kind of compose Adish, hearing from his daughter what his daughter had to say. And we told her, you know, say what you want to say. Don't feel bad, don't hold back. And she said exactly what she wanted to say from age 5 till this age, how she missed her father. And we might think that at age 5, I mean, how much does a child remember or knows? And she said from age 5, that heartbreak till now. And the other person as well, when you heard she gave her father advice, be a better person when you come out, be a better man. So now we are seeing the important role of fathers, you know, and a lot of fathers take it for granted. So sitting back and think about this, I think it will make you think twice, 10 times before you even actually do something.
Absolutely. And even if for those who are stepping in, because you mentioned her stepfather as well, who played that role for her, even if you are stepping into someone else's shoes, you have to do your best as well and provide and protect as best you can. But do not, I'm glad that no one had, you know, encouraged her not to make that approach to her birth father, and that she went through with it. You know, she was clearly determined to develop that relationship, because it's something that she missed,
Mhm.
even despite having a stepfather who was, providing and loving. It was a connection that she missed.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we are hearing, we are going through a father-daughter moment here this morning, and it's really powerful that children can actually, put pen to paper, and let their father, who fell short, know how they feel. And, my target group always are servicemen in Trinidad and Tobago. It's especially for a serviceman, it's kind of hard being in a position of authority, and then all of a sudden you lost all that and you're sitting behind prison walls, leaving your family outside to fend for themselves. I hope you are listening this morning and hearing the pain in these children's voices. You want to say something? So let's go to Mr. We have, it's Pernell, right?
Pernell.
Pernell is in studio with us, and his daughter wrote him a letter. Let's hear what she had to say to her father, who is now in prison for the past 19 years. Let's go to that.
My Father's Day letter is dedicated to my superhero, my daddy. My daddy is my superhero, even though he was taken from me from a young, delicate age. I still look at him as my super dad, despite the situation. At times when I go against him, it's not because he's right and I know I'm wrong. It's because he makes me happy in a sad situation. He makes the best out of it, no matter what. And his number one rule to me was, even though you're down, always look at the brighter side and smile. And while I read out this letter, it brings joy and sadness to me, because having a super dad that you cannot see as much as you want is hard. Time really teaches me patience, and learning that my dad became my superhero at a young age really teaches me love that I give to my son. My daddy became my superhero when I found out I was pregnant with my son. Me being 16, I was terrified to tell him. But after relating to him the news, he was more excited than I was. He couldn't believe that he was going to be a super grandpa. Over the years, me and my superhero dad both learned that through time and patience, a relationship that a father and a daughter could have, we already established. To my daddy, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you, my superhero, my love, and to Tristan, his super grandpa.
Over to you, Mr. Pernell.
Morning. I don't know, I'm speechless. It has been hard. I just try my best to communicate whenever possible and give her advice when needed, strength when needed. I don't try to dictate a piece or dictate a life. Just offer advice. Keep the bond.
What was your experience like before, as a father, before incarceration and now while during?
Well, before, me and my daughter had a real strong relationship. From the day she born, I take sole responsibility to become a child mother. I was working. So I was a dad who was home, changing the pampers, making the formula, bathing, everything, washing the clothes, everything. I used to had a little bag. I used to be all over the place with my daughter, she all over the place. One of them sharp one. Yeah, so she always with me, always with me. Powder, Spain, Diego Martin, wherever I go in, she was with me.
Okay, nice. And that is something we don't often see. Fathers taking on that nurturing and caring, actually child care, doing child care, which is what you're describing there.
Yeah.
And that is what you account for your strong bond with her.
No, did you, any one of you gentlemen ever, after probably a visit, go back in the cell and cuff the wall and...
Everyone. Every single one.
Exactly, every one of those visits, because to me, I always say that's one of the hardest thing I think I had to deal with in being in prison, being away from my children. Although being here would have been a challenge as well, but being away from my children would have been the hardest thing to deal with here.
Most definitely.
And what about a day like today, Father's Day? What does it mean to both of you now that you are behind bars?
What would you do on a day like today?
I like to cook, so I had to cook.
Another cook. That's what we like to hear.
This is the morning of the cooks.
Yes.
You, Adish?
Honestly, if I was out there today, would have been a day I would have spent with my children. Yes. But to me, although I'm saying today would have been a day I would have spent with my children, I if you all were to look at my interview with Mr. Steele, I value family a lot. So basically I cherish family and I love my children. So whatever time I get, I try my best to spend it with them.
Now, let me ask, excuse me, let me ask this for the benefit of the men, especially listening. I know I did, so I'm asking you, while in prison now, if you had an opportunity to go back to that day, would you have done it differently?
Of course I would.
Most definitely.
Of course I would.
Most definitely.
Of course. This is not worth it.
At all. Could never be worth it. 19 years away from my daughter is nothing could bring back that or compensate for that.
And then if you think with Adish, his son was just 1 year old.
Yes.
So his son does not have a relationship. I mean, his daughter still remembers some of the things. And in the interview, his daughter said that every single Father's Day, she would write him a letter. So Adish, think about when you come out now, you have how many letters to read. So think about what she's saying in that letter. You know, I mean, it's 19 years now. So how many years now she's been writing this letter? So she's still taking that time on Father's Day, aside from missing her father. And if I mean, for the Adish to understand that, you would realize, although she's missing him as much, she still wants to have that connection. So she has letters there every single Father's Day. And as Pernell is the superhero. Now he's a super grandpa.
Yes.
So you're seeing that although they have been incarcerated for all these years, the bond is still there. Now for Adish, Adish has to build that relationship with his son when he comes out there, because his son knows nothing about his father.
And he said it out. He said I think it was about 3 years ago, he said, you know, I don't really know you. He said, I understand that. And what was good is that he was saying that, you know, I'm willing for us to work together and, you know, we could probably understand each other. And that's something I really looking forward to.
One of the things that we do, we use these programs for people who are listening to understand from personal experience, no movie thing, real experience, to know if you continue on that path where these circumstances, you'll have to bear that part of your life 19 years away from your family until a time machine is built where you could go back in time 19 years and correct that mistake. You got to go through 19 years of pain, sorrow, crying. Take these opportunities, listen to this program, listen to these examples and say, here what, I'm not going to follow that same path. I am no superhero that I could do something and get away scotch-free. There's always a possibility you'll be caught. And when you're caught, these are the experience you have to go through. You have children, you're leaving your children 1 year, 19 years later, that is an adult. I don't know you. You can't come out and give me advice now. 19 years it wasn't there. So what kind of father you'll be? Yes, I talked to you twice for the year and in a program, now you're coming to tell me how to live my life. You don't want to experience that. You don't even want, I remember a guy told me once, he said, Mr. Steele, I appreciate that another man stepping in my shoe when I'm not there. He said, but it's hard to know that my daughter calling her next man daddy.
And
we don't want that. You understand? So the fathers that are listening, who have intention of committing a crime, stop it. Because the experiences, we as officers, we just listen to it. And when we see it, yesterday was our Father's Day program. So the kids are leaving. I'm watching a child stand up by the door waving daddy and crying. So I follow to watch through the crowd to see which one, and he's stand up there playing brave and saying, all right, bye, with tears in his eye. I wish I had the opportunity to take and tape that. You understand? To show it's not a joke, it's real. So be mindful of these things. Learn from Adesh and Pernell mistake. Don't follow the same path. Because we know they will testify to tell you, if they could go back in time, they will change it with a heartbeat, a click of a finger. Be mindful of these things.
What are some of the things that you would say now to young men and to fathers who are still present in their children's lives? What do they need to do to maintain that relationship? Not apart from, not committing any crimes. What are some of the things that they need to be aware of and do consistently?
Long ago when we were growing up, our parents used to say, think before you act, look before you leap. And if we were to take these little proverbs seriously, I think we would be in a better position, because we hear them and we don't actually act on them because of our lack of judgment at the time, I should say. Here we are now, paying the consequences for our actions. You understand? And sometimes in life, we have to look at these little things in life sometimes. You understand? We have our family, we have kids, moms, dads, whoever it is. We need to appreciate them.
We believe that mothers are most important in a child's life, but that's not true. A father plays a very important role, and the fathers out there, they need to understand that. Because listen to Adesh and Pernell, they're saying that heartbreak, pain, all these things that their children are going through. So to the fathers out there, step up. Even though you're there, continue it, because your children need you. And once you understand that and the important role that you play, as I said, other things will just be secondary. Thinking about doing something wrong will be the last thing on your mind, especially when you look at your children.
Living a life of crime is like playing Russian roulette. At some point, that wrong will exit that chamber and put you down. You could do what you want, you could be how brilliant you want, and you think you are, eventually it will come full circle. And Steele said something just now that I actually experienced. My daughter and I good now, but there was a time I heard, you can't talk to me. We was when I was growing up. You coming to tell me now, please? And I just had to take that on hush. Because, it and this is why I tell people I really don't celebrate Father's Day, because I really wasn't a good one. So I don't walk around with a Happy Father's Day and jumping and screaming. I regret up to this day the choices that I have made. So listening to you all here, I am identifying with how you feel. In fact, to the fathers out there, when you go to prison, you leave your wife and girl child vulnerable, and boy child especially.
Yeah.
But you leave them vulnerable, open to anything happening to them.
Yes.
It's you're not there to protect them at all.
Correct. And what about the pressure that you're putting onto your families? Because yesterday we saw a grandmother. She came in with twins. That was her son's two children, boys. They were writing essay. And I'm listening, they're telling their father that I want to go Queen's Royal College and the other one wants to go Fatima. And I'm saying, you listen to these children and you realize what they have, they're reaching for they have potential. Ambition. And the grandmother is there, she's barely able to move. And I'm saying, you need to look at you in here and these sacrifices and the pressure that you have to put on your mother. That's plenty. What I mean? She's willing. But looking at her, I was wondering if she's willing. If she's able to take care of your children at that very young age.
And grannies, there are a lot of grannies out there in that role right now.
Yes, they are.
Poor things, and they sometimes they will try their best, but they cannot really be.
My one was telling me, she's saying, in the tech-savvy world, she lost. And her grandson just beat her every second. She don't know. She said she can't keep up with it. She can't keep up with it. She's willing, but she's not able.
Yeah.
But also, I think part of the conversation about fathers and we are hearing a lot more about the role of men in society and toxic masculinity, patriarchy, all of these things. And to the extent to which men support each other in parenthood. Because we know that mothers tend to, bond with other mothers,
Yes.
right? Because of the responsibility. But to what extent do men support each other in parenthood? Because fatherhood to some men is just like, is a whatever. The child mother could deal with that.
Take care of that, I think that has a lot to do with our culture and so on, the way how we were brought up.
Yeah.
We aren't supposed to be soft, as Mr. God said before. We as men, we are not supposed to cry.
And it's
So
not
what
for
does that
nobody
mean?
to
We has
see.
no feelings, because being in here for this number of years, if I had to hold back all of that, I don't think I could sit down here and speak today. I can't. I'm only human as well. So we have to let it out somehow.
No, did you, I knew for some men, and I saw it while I was in there too, is men try to still have that measure of control even when they're in prison. So if they don't hear from the wife that they now leave outside, or she don't come and visit, they vex. And try to, where you went Saturday, it's kind of weird, but that is a part of life that you have to come to terms with, that you no longer in control of your family.
Yes, truth.
Sure.
And you the last one should be asking me any question. I didn't tell you come to jail.
Yes, and some of us have difficulty in coming to
terms
with that understanding, because what you're saying there, actually one of my friends helped me to realize that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks.
What?
Because something I wanted to go and do for me when I had now came into prison about almost a year being here already, some personal business. And she was like, she did agree first. And the next morning when she was supposed to go to do it, she was like, I'm not going to do that for you. And I was like, but we agreed that you would go. And she said, who do you think you are? You don't have all that power in your hand again. You understand? And then it made me check myself. It seemed bad at the time, but it helped me to understand where I was. And really, who do you think you are?
Yeah, my aunt do me the
So
same thing.
sometimes we need to check ourselves.
You experienced that, Pernell?
Yeah, my aunt do me the same thing. When I left the free world, she took control of my daughter, because I took custody of my daughter when she was born, and she grew up with me from small, me and my aunt, because I didn't grow up with my father, and I didn't want my daughter to go through that same process going on. And lo and behold, it still happened. So when I came in, my aunt, I was demanding certain things. Well, I know I shouldn't have done it, but my aunt let me know off the bat, what's going on with you? You forget what years are.
Emasculation to the highest right there.
Yeah,
you lost your name. You lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then when if you look back at Andrew Douglas,
Yeah.
when he lost his son, he was helpless. You know, I
Yes.
mean, of course, the prison provide as much as they can. They could for him back then, but Douglas was lost. When he lost his son, I don't even think up to this day Douglas got over that. So, I mean, as I said, you're helpless.
A question was asked to me by a mother. She said that her son was charged in February for murder. So she asked me, what is the time period for murder? So I can't say. You should know from example, because some people tell you 2 years, 3 years. For murder? No, meaning that waiting before the matter go before the court. And I really, that moment, didn't want to tell her the truth, because she was hopeful. You understand, 3 years, and and now I said, well, I gotta find out the information. I'll get back there. And I purposely sidetrack her and go on, because I didn't want to give her the bad news. Somebody else had to give her that.
And this is what I had a chance to speak to some youngsters there, and I told them, if you go to prison now, you got to line up,
Yeah.
It's because remember, there are people in there 15 years before you. I want to drive this home here this morning. Go ahead, but if you feel you're going to walk in and out of prison, forget that, because you're going to meet people there who've been there waiting for their turn that have not arrived as yet.
Yes.
So which means, I hate to break it to you all, You may just have to wait 10 years before anything happens.
The other guy waited
And I'm being
21
generous.
years. Yes. 21 years.
21 years. Yeah?
Yes.
So, again, listen to this morning. Listen to what we're trying to tell you all out here. You're not listening, most of you. And we've seen, I don't know what it has happened to some adults in this country right now. You know. And we've seen the examples you all setting for children. To the adults who giving children drugs to carry in school to sell. You setting the stage. And your turn is going to come too as well. But think about the things that you're doing to destroy this society and this country of ours. Think hard. Let's go to that break. You're listening to Our Dependency, and when we return, we're going to feature that video with Adish sitting in the studio with Mr. Steele, and also we embarking on a fundraising venture. We have a curriculum that we're going to start. We have the tickets, so that we're asking you, the friends. We've tried other means, let's say corporate Trinidad and Tobago, and we have some research to do, and we so far have not gotten support. So we decided, let's do a curriculum, and we have the tickets will be available from tomorrow. Please God, we're depending on you, our supporters, to support this venture for us. We have some research to do in the very near future, and you will see it for yourself, the end result of that research. So we're hoping to get your support. Natasha will work. We have the tickets already, so you can start calling us. During the week.
Us on YouTube or Facebook.
Or message us, YouTube and Facebook.
We will arrange to get the tickets to you.
And we'll arrange to get the tickets to you, please. It's just $55 for one, and it's a hot shop. We partnered with Hot Shop to do this. One of the best tasting rotis in town. Let me just prepare your taste buds right now for that succulent, soft, melt in your mouth. Let's go to a break. We'll be back.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Dobson here from HMP London. Can I speak to Mr. James, please?
This is Mr. James speaking.
Thank you. Can you hold the line? I have a call coming through to you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, yes, Brian?
Daddy, I'm just calling to tell you that look up in the UK for drug trafficking.
Oh, yeah? You lock up? And you tell me I was going to Tobago? And I tell you about them boy I was liming with? Well, all right. Don't drop the soap. Carry on.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM.
Document forgery facilitates the smuggling of migrants.
Los documentos fraudulentos o falsos pueden ser esos documentos que son obtenidos de una manera ilícita, como bien indica el nombre, con información falsa o adulterada. El tráfico ilícito de migrantes es un delito que va cruzando fronteras.
Fraudulent documents are used for entry and secondary movements along migratory routes. These documents are especially necessary on air routes.
Los documentos fraudulentos que identificamos son pasaportes, son visados, son permisos de trabajo.
Smugglers provide forged documents to migrants for money. Smugglers take advantage of migrants willing to take risks in search of a better life when they cannot access legal migration channels.
El traficante ofrece el paquete completo. A veces si un paquete le falla, él le presenta otro.
Fraudulent documents are not always forged.
Cuando hablamos de los documentos originales ideológicamente falsos, pudiéramos decir que hay alguna vinculación de corrupción con instituciones de la identidad, porque es un documento que sale emitido de la institución de la identidad. Cuando hablamos de documentos falsos o adulterados, entonces ahí tenemos manos criminales afuera produciendo documentos.
UNODC trains law enforcement officials to identify fraudulent or illegitimate documents and improve communication channels with other countries.
Support the Eye on Dependency Curry Q fundraiser by Hot Shop. Just $55 gets you 1 wrap or 2 mini rotis. From 16th June to 30th July. Get your tickets today.
Good morning and thank you for staying with us. This is Eye on Dependency. Thank you to those of you who tuned in online. Don't forget to like the live. It costs nothing. It's $3.99. Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, please like the live, and it really does help the show.
Right. Shortman, before we go to Adish's video, could you put back up the ticket for a minute for me, please? So that those online can see it. And so those listening can understand what we're trying to do.
Support the Eye on.
And this will help us in getting there to do it. And within a month, you will understand what we embarking on. So we have to start with this venture, and this is what the tickets look like. I mean, the more we sell, is better, So those of you, I'll be sending some for the Commissioner of Prisons, so that he can buy some curry for his staff. But it has a beginning and end date. So the end date is July 30, and we're starting from Monday, please God. So please support this venture, and you will understand what we're doing with this research. So you have a choice of beef, boneless chicken, bone chicken, or 2 mini rotis.
Or veg.
Or
There's
veg.
a veg option
Of
as
that
well.
soft, melt in your mouth, succulent roti from Hot Shop. Don't miss it.
Apologies to our friends in South Trinidad who will swear that they have the best roti in town.
Yes, and
in the country. But next time we'll partner with a roti shop in South.
Yes, and this is finger licking good stuff we're talking about here. Just feel that curry running down the side of your mouth.
So you're saying chicken and beef is saying $55?
Yes. Your choice, yes.
Nice.
All right?
That $55 gives you either 1 regular roti, the big ones, or 2 mini.
Or 2 mini roti. All right, so we hope we've enticed your taste buds enough to indulge in just this morsel. All right, so tell us about this video. What made you decide to sit with Adish and do this video, Mr. Steele? I know we saw Miss Agard last time with Mother's Day, so this is your turn now to tell us about this and how you felt doing this interview.
First to begin, the society have a way of treating fathers and Father's Day different. And I would like to say earlier that for Mother's Day, you see all the fancy things are wrong. For Father's Day, only yesterday I realized. Yes, I'll take it. No,
it's true.
So yesterday I learned about SUV, socks, underwear, and vest.
Yeah.
So we are treated unfairly when it comes to Father's Day. Yeah, so we decided to break from tradition and do something for fathers. And the whole idea of it, I know Ms. Agard and they did a letter for Mother's Day. We wanted to change it up to get a letter from the daughters to their father, to feel the true sense of emotions and the real understanding of what they feel. I remember one daughter asked, what to write? Say, write from your heart. She's studying if she write, the father will feel upset. I say, if you know your true feeling and you love her that much, he will understand.
Yeah.
And they all did from their heart. They wrote those letters, we recorded, we played. And when we sat down with Adish, it was the first time he heard it. We didn't play it before. We didn't give them an idea what we was doing. We did everything. And it was something that take away from the idea that men don't cry. Mm-hmm. Men don't have emotions. Still, people will say, that big hard back man. But understanding the role of the prison in rehabilitation, our job is to, when someone comes to prison, we must not send them back the same way that they came in. Mm-hmm. We have to go through that rigorous process with them, through that whole journey of rehabilitation. So when they enter into society, they're a different person. These are the persons that you're going to be walking the streets with dealing with. So our journey and our talk about rehabilitation is not just a talk, but as we really, really put that effort into it. So sitting down there and understand, for guys, men on the outside to understand, it is no joke. And I remember we do a program recently and they're asking us if the people in the video are actors.
Oh, shucks.
Wow.
So no, they're not actors. They're real people. These young ladies that you saw on the video is not actors. They are real inmates. So we did one with Pernell. Pernell video ain't come out yet. We did one with Adish. So that is the one you're going to see today.
So this is a lesson again for all fathers. Where would you like to be telling this story? On your back porch with a news clip, a news team interviewing you, or in prison? You have a choice.
Definitely not in prison.
Yeah, definitely not in prison. And again, to the ones out there who, mothers and wives and all, speaking to you and begging you, when you go to prison, don't expect your wife, your girlfriend, or your significant other to stay out here and wait for you. She might as well go to the nunnery and wait. But they're not going to wait.
Unless you are the kind of man that is worth waiting for. Because there's women who will do that too. We are very long suffering, you know, we tend to be.
Yes, God, I have to correct you on that, because seeing when we have the family visit, you would see wives coming there loyal to their husband, their loved one. So it does happen.
Oh,
so that's why
right,
I guess.
So you are encouraging women to abandon their
No,
partners?
I'm not encouraging that at all. But on the other hand, I would not be upset. Like I always say to you, Natasha, once I get sentenced to more than 2 months, forget me. Go on and live your life.
2 months?
I am serious. I am being realistic here.
Okay.
I expect, you will suffer for a year, right?
Yeah.
But after a while, remember them are girlfriends too. And girlfriend, girl, what are you doing this weekend, girl? Girl, I ain't going nowhere now. Girl, is a whole year the man in jail. He ain't coming out for the next 10 years. What are you going to do? Sit at home there and wait? And no, they mightn't get through the first time.
Yeah.
They mightn't get through the second, but they're going to get through the third time.
Yes, because with Adish, I mean, his story wasn't like that. He was separated, he got divorced in prison.
Right.
So it's not for everyone, but you see, it does happen.
Yeah, I know there are women who long suffering, because like I remember when we did Servicemen. Let me go this one before we go to this interview. We did a series called Servicemen Behind Bars, right? Lance Corporal, we interviewed a former police sergeant, a sailor, and a corporal. I will never forget this. So when we played the Lance Corporal's interview, he was held for trafficking, trying to traffic drugs out of Trinidad and Tobago. During the interview, I said, I hope all are listening to this, because no wife is sitting on 5 years and waiting for you all. While I said that, the lady texted me and said, how dare you? I am going to wait on my husband. I love my husband, and the Lord will give us strength to stay together, and I will wait for him. I say, okay, ma'am, I am sorry. I really apologize. I didn't know you had that type of strength, and so on. Okay, good. A year later, I going up to Camp Komuto to do a lecture. And I know that's where he was stationed, so I say, let me call her and tell her, hey, I'm going by the boy camp, how things going. And when last I see him, she say, who he? I don't talk to he already. I don't tell you what time it is. I have to pay all the bills now. I have to carry my son football. I get a new car. I have to take care of that. And I have to do everything now. And so I say, when last I see him? She said, I done with that. So I start to laugh. She said, why are you laughing? I say, well, the first time I talk to you, you sound like Mother Teresa. I said, no, you sound like Dennis Belfort. She wanted dead. I said, that is the harsh reality of accepting your husband or significant other is in prison and they're not coming out right away. It hits home at some point.
Yes, it does.
So yes, you may suffer for a year, maybe a year and a half, but listen, that day will come. And if he just lose the key of his head to make demands and start to make demands while...
That is a no-no.
That is a no-no. You have to put your tail between your legs. I mean, the biggest giant at home Once you lose,
you all have heard it from the horse's mouth. If you are the significant other of someone who has been incarcerated, Gar Sinclair has given you free rein to move on with your life. If that's what you think you need to do.
you know,
Mr.
I don't like how you
Garcia.
say that. But I have two people here to back me up in that. No, we have at some point in time to let our significant other move on with their lives, because they may meet someone eventually. Them same girlfriends are talking about will set up a date for you, nice, and invite you. Let me go dinner now. Next, this fella show up. Meet my friend now, because them done tell he already we're going on with you. You feel like chopping? Me say that.
But then, from the prisoner's perspective, when he does come back out, where is he getting support from to reintegrate and restart his life?
You see, this is where the humility in us will have to come in. We have to go back out there and accept what we're going to face.
Yeah.
Without making any demands.
No, we had a example where the significant other said she didn't want to give him the bad news in prison, so she acted the role for 4.5 years. And at the 6 months, when she knew he will be coming out in 6 months, she asked to see him, and she told them that I move on.
That hard, boy.
Wow. And he expecting now that she would be there when he.
Yeah.
Wow.
She said she didn't want to break the bad news to him, but she acted the role perfect, everything. She went through the whole pieces, but she said in 6 months to come out, she know well, right. The time is near. She decided, okay, I'll tell him. She said she moved on.
That cool, boy.
That can mash you up.
Yeah, that cool.
No, he asked how long you move out. She said within the first year.
That cool, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the reality.
Yeah, but
So
the next man had belly too, because surely next man had to know what she doing.
Well, I guess, but so she had support. But yeah, that cool, boy.
Yeah, that cool.
Yeah, that cool. Better tell me up front. Because
One
you see,
time.
because remember, I going to lie down daydreaming now.
correct.
Alright, so I'll go to Tobago with her. I'll be going to the beach and spend a weekend in Tobago.
A situation like that.
And I'll cook and everything. And
Yeah, that could throw off somebody around.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Remember, you sit down in a cell and picturing your life for this person when you come out of jail.
Yeah.
So you building all the dreams, the hopes, everything on this situation. Yeah. And then for somebody that just raft the rug from up underneath you. That's not a good thing.
Anybody ever saw the movie Castaway?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, but again, is another reminder to people: don't end up in prison. Don't do nothing to end up in prison.
That's why.
This is why we're doing. That is why we're doing this
program. I know
program.
from the beginning. From the time I get locked up for murder, because I know my first time on the bike, as I just say. So from the time I get charged for the murder, I explain to my child mother whatever going on. I'm going to be here for a while. So it don't make sense. I appreciate you will look out for mama. That's what I just call my daughter. You look out for mama and whatever, but I go handle my candle.
So you have a longer stretch to go.
A little thing, yeah.
Gentlemen, I hope you all are listening out there this morning. I hope you all are paying, not only listening, but paying attention. Listen to your mother. Listen to your children. Listen to your wife. Listen. Because one day the shoe's going to drop. Let's go to that interview now. And you have a chance to see Steele and Adish inside of Rise Maximum Radio's studio doing this interview. Let's hear how this went.
Back when I was a child, before life removed all the innocence, father would lift me high and dance with my mother and me, and then spin me around till I fell asleep. Then up the stairs he would carry me, and I knew for sure I was loved. If I could get another chance, another walk, another dance with him, I'd play a song that would never, ever end. How I'd love, love, love to dance with my father again.
A pleasant good day, one and all. I'd like to welcome you guys to our show, Fathers Behind Bars for Father's Day.
Good day, good day.
And with me, I have no other than the professor,
also known as Adish.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome. So, Adish, tell us something about yourself.
I've been incarcerated for the past 16 years and some, and recently got convicted out a year now. It has been a journey, really something that I have to say I made the best out of it, honestly. It could have been worse, but I did survive.
So, tell us some of the things that you did in programs.
Certificate-wise, well, I did CXC here actually, Maths, English, Social. I passed the 3 subjects my first try, and I was given the opportunity to teach school even class. And I went on to help teach the CXC classes and so on. As I said, within the process, I also learned myself as well. And while being in programs, I got the opportunity to do different programs as well. So I attained different certificates. Broadcasting was one of them. Self-esteem, anger management, life skills, and computer literacy.
Well done, well done.
Yes.
Today, our program is about Fathers Behind Bars.
Yes.
Tell me something about your family life before prison.
Okay, so before I came in here, I was a working person and everything, but I always believe in family. That's something I like. So I would try to balance it basically. You know, half time for work, half time for family, and actually it did work out. It did work out until I came in here. It did work out.
So tell me about your families.
I have 2 kids out of my marriage. Now I'm divorced, but at that time being married and so on, I was married for like over 7 years. I have 2 kids, a girl and a boy.
So when you got incarcerated, what was their age?
My daughter was 5 years old at the time, and my son would have been about almost 2 years.
Young kids?
Yes.
So as a father in prison, tell me how, you know, your thoughts when it comes to your children.
One of the first things I had to deal with here was staying away from my children. To me, that was the hardest thing. But also, their safety was paramount. You know, being how societies and so on, I was concerned about their safety.
Being away from your kids, how did the prison bridge that gap for you to communicate with your kids?
Okay, well, one of the things I taught in the early is that I didn't want them to come to an environment like this. But the reality is being charged for capital and so on. I wanted to keep that connection with them. And they had to know the reality of the situation. I couldn't lie. And back in those days, I came in here 2009. So like all 2011, that's when I knew about the family visits. In those days, we used to call it Fathers in Action program. Through the programs department, and working in the programs department, I was given the opportunity to actually go to all the visits that I had, and that helped me a lot. They used to look forward to it. I used to look forward to it as well too. So it did help a lot. At this point, I'm very close to my daughter, vice versa as well. Son, I remember about 2 years ago, he said, you know, I don't really know you. But the good thing is that his words, he was saying that you know, I'm willing to get to know you when you come out.
Tell us some of the things that over the years, how you bond with her.
That was because I was able to keep her a level of communication with her over the years. I think that is what made it happen for me. Because I would try to help her with her schoolwork, talk to her, because what I've realized is that the way I grew up, people trust me a lot with their children, and I realize children gravitate towards anyone they feel comfortable with. There are adults who could take advantage of that, and that is what I didn't want my daughter falling into. She trusted someone who would take advantage of her. Thank God it didn't happen. So I always try to keep that connection with her, and I think over the years it just grew and grew, and she's someone that fully trusts me, and that's something I cherish the most.
That's a blessing. So today, with us, we have a letter from your daughter.
Okay, interesting.
So I know you'll be hearing it for the first time today.
Yes.
She expressing her thoughts. So we're going to play the letter, and then I know you're hearing it for the first time, and then we will talk about it at the end. This is a letter from Adish's daughter.
For the past 17 years, I grew up without both my parents in my life. At the age of 5 years old, I learned what was heartbreak, and needless to say, I had to experience it from both my parents. On May 25, 2009, my life changed when I learned that my dad wouldn't be coming home to us. As a little girl, I asked myself if it was my fault that my dad left, or if my dad would ever come back home. I lived with my mother for at least 2 years, which was not the best, to 1 year later living with my grandmother. It took me 15 years to realize that asking for my mother's love was way too much. I had no choice but to accept it and move on with my life. Every year for my birthday, my only wish was that my dad gets released from prison, so I could spend whatever little of my life that is left with him. I grew up without a father figure in my life. Having each birthday come and not being able to celebrate it with him is very depressing. Having to experience certain milestones in my life without my dad at my side is very heartbreaking. To hearing my cousins wish their dad Happy Father's Day is very sad, knowing that I don't have my dad to spend Father's Day with and to practically spend the day seeing friends and family with their dads. Having graduations and being appointed head ambassador, and to know that my dad is not even in the crowd to cheer me on, or to even have someone to have pep talks with is distressing. In a girl's life, their dad should be their best friend, their first love, and their safe space. But to me, my safe space is in a dark room, just looking at the starry night sky, and just remembering the best moments of your life with my dad. As a young woman, growing up without a father is very hard. Having to experience your teenage years going through the most physical changes and dealing with a lot mentally. But in my life, it was more than just physical changes. This was where I had to be the backbone for both my brother and I, to show him how to be strong as a young man, growing up, and to be a model figure in my brother's life. Trying to shield him from a lot of pain, only to realize that I was causing myself mental, physical, and emotional pain. Growing up without my parents has changed me drastically as a woman. Having to always be strong is very hard. To having to get up every morning and go about my daily life as though everything is normal, when in fact I'm breaking down deep inside. It's been 17 years, Dad. I would say this has been the hardest part of my life. I would climb every mountain, swim every ocean just to have one more birthday, one more Father's Day, one more Christmas with you. I would give up anything in this world to have my dad back in my life, even if I get to experience it one more time. Just to have this memory with you, Dad. I wish I could turn back the clock to experience my last birthday with you. My heart bleeds just to have you in my life one more time and to experience what it's like to have a man in your life that would protect you, teach you, love you, and to always have my back.
So that was Adish's daughter.
Yes.
A letter from her heart.
Yes. actually hearing it, I would have said, I could say that I knew she would have gone through a lot, but I not being there. Maybe I don't understand how much, but I know it's a lot. After I heard it there just now.
She said earlier if she could get one more opportunity to be with her father, her birthday. How you feel inside hearing that letter?
Sad really, and it really stirred me a lot because over the years being on remand and so on, something that kept us together. One of the questions they would always ask is, when are you coming out? And I didn't want to lie to them and say, give them a time frame, because I didn't know when. I didn't know if I was going to come out of here. And being there, I used to say like, it's up to God really. In the right time, God will let me out of here. And they actually repeated back in my ears recently, so I know they were listening. That's something they held on to, and I think, what I could say here in that letter is that I know she would, by God's grace and His mercy, I think she would be spending not one Father's Day or one birthday, but a lot.
I know she would be, that would be music to her ears.
Of course. Advice I would give to her. You know what I cherish about her the most? She took a lot of my qualities, the sense of doing things for people, and that I admire about her. She actually goes out to help others, and I really admire that about her. In growing up with them, as parents, I think we always try to give children things that we didn't have. My mom would always tell me, don't give them too much because you'll spoil them. I try to balance it and so on, but they are my kids. And things that she would remember makes me know that these are the things that create bonds between parents and children. Things that, like, sometimes everyone is asleep, and she wouldn't go to sleep until I ready to go to sleep. She would wait up there for me. And small as she was, then that she would remember things like cooking together. She just being there, making her feel part of it. She remember those things, and that I cherish.
I would like to thank you for pouring out your heart, being a part of this program with us. And you always, the parents out there, give them some advice.
Being where I am, what I can say is that sometimes we have to think before we act. Sometimes it's not about us. Sometimes we hurt others that we should cherish the most, and they actually cherish us, but we don't understand how much until we are away from them. If I could do things over, I would probably rethink this whole situation. Being away from them was the hardest, and I know I think that would go for any parents, being away from their kids, even the kids being away from them. So let's think before we act and try and do things maybe better in the future, or for the benefits of our kids, not just for us.
How long you have been here now?
Almost 17 years.
17 years. So listen to Adish advice. Think before you act. We always talk about choices.
Yes.
Think about the choices that you make, how it will affect not only you, but your family.
Exactly.
Your most precious, when you think about your children, and it's not something that you could say that, you'll make up in the future, but you can't get back for lost time.
Exactly.
So Adish, I'd like to thank you, for really being part of this with us, and look forward to you reuniting with your daughter soon. Thank you very much, Professor.
Yes. Thanks.
Have a blessed one.
We at Rise Maximum Radio would like to thank our Acting Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Carlos Garaspi, our Deputy Commissioner of Prisons, Offender Management and Corrections, Mr. Sherwin Bruce, and our Assistant Commissioner of Prisons, Public Relations and Communications, Mr. Ricardo Das, for making all this possible. Thank you all once again for watching. We really do appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.
All right. Adesh?
Yes, sir.
You said something just now that really blew my mind. It's only after you spent
15 years on the remand, then I was convicted.
Wow.
After 15 years?
Yes.
you know, to refresh up, how many people, you know, on remand doing that amount of time right now waiting?
There's a lot of people on remand. The oldest I know is one who is there for 20. Actually, I think he started his 21 years this year.
Jesus.
Hasn't faced a judge as yet in the High Court. But there are a lot of us who would be there 15, 16, 17, 18 years and so on, waiting on a trial.
Right.
But when you're convicted, the time that you serve.
Yeah, it is deducted from the sentence. You just get back the flat years and not the prison time. Yes.
Right. Okay. Wow.
So the difference now is as knowing that, okay, when Adish, you know, or Pernell daughter asks them, Daddy, when you're coming home, they can't answer when you're on remand.
No.
Yes,
So, you know,
correct.
knowing that, okay, yes, I got X amount of years, you could say, well, here, what, the next 5 years,
Right.
God's spare life, I will be
Yes.
out.
But you don't want to dispel their hopes, but then you still
Not.
don't want to.
Yeah.
How you?
That was one of the things that was we had to think about it a lot before we actually answer them, because
Yeah.
you can't give them a time frame. You
No,
didn't
you
know
don't.
when either. And also being charged for capital, in my situation, I was wondering if I would ever be able to come out of here, or if at all. So when they asked me, like, you know, when you're coming out, I actually came up with an answer, like, you know, everything is in God's timing. And they did hear me, because, you know, after 15 years, when I got convicted and so on, I say, you see, I told you in God's time, and, you know, it's only when He's ready for us, then something could really be possible.
You
understand? So they
you went to prison with God, or you met God in prison?
No. Even when I was out there, through working and so on a few occasions I almost lose my life. So even from my young age growing up, my mom would say, you know, you're leaving here to go to work. Who says that you have to come back? Why can't you say a prayer before you leave home and so on? And I started to pray from a very young age. So being in prison, we had more time. So maybe I probably got more involved in praying and so on, but it didn't start in prison. It started out there.
What about you, Pernell? What about you? When I ask the question, I know a lot of people, you know, when they reach the prison is when they really acknowledge God and they find God. I always say to people, I went to prison with Him, because my mother, you know, inculcated that in us from children.
Yes.
At the age. So I always believed in a higher power, and I always called on Him from, you know, whenever at that time. I think that's what saved me too. But what about you?
I came in jail with.
So you knew that?
Yeah, I grew up in fact, my yard had a church. My grandmother was a Baptist. My grandfather and my grandmother were Baptist leaders, a shepherd and a mother.
Okay.
So I grew up in Baptist church.
So what would you say, because I notice a style now out there where 3 and 4 and 5, sometimes 6 people jump in one person and beating them. In that state of anger, I saw a video just yesterday where a man hit a woman behind her head. But I thought it was a cutlass, the way he was wielding it.
I thought so as well.
You saw it, right?
I saw it.
And that woman on the gong, and they beating this woman. And I am saying, when the blood cool and the police comes and you in the station, that is when, if I could, I would, I should, comes to you.
Yeah.
What would you all say to them now?
Think. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and observe. Watch the situation before it escalate. Walk away.
Why it's so hard for people to walk away now, Jed?
Ego. Ego is a hell of a thing.
No, I am watching some people doing some stuff, and then the style now is a kick you in your head.
Yeah.
You know, this penalty shot they love to take with your head. And I keep saying, if that person dies, this whole picture is going to change now. And you know, I'm sure there are a number of people in prison right now could tell you they wish they could have reversed the hands of time.
Correct. Now, I think a lot of people don't even get that reality check in the police station. But you see, when they come into prison and they realize, hey, what now? This is what prison is all about in here. And that cell gate just closed, and then the reality check, you know, kicks in, and you realize what you have done. But it's a little too late. You know, it is sad.
You said earlier, peer pressure. 3 fellas went on a robbery. The man attacked them. 2 decided to fight for they kick him up, they beat him. 1 saw the action and he run. They belittle him. You're a coward man. when the action start to run, you don't have no belly. And that ego is where here most of the time.
Yeah.
So to not be the label a coward man, you had a penalty in a kick.
Yeah.
And you had to stay with your partners and watch your back. Me ain't going nowhere with you again because you are a coward man. And that little piece of ego, sometimes we go to mentor and we always ask the question, you ever wonder how we get a complete fight from the first cuff? So they say, hey, Kat, we're going to fight.
Yeah.
Right, start the tape. So they walk down the step and you're following them and say, right. And they line up, right. And then it's the fight start. So to be part of that action video, you had to jump in and fly a kick because they had to show, hey, look, Pernell, watch how we get on there, he fly and kick the man. Yeah. And that piece of ego is what mashing up today.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'll never forget that in Tobago when they killed the young man. One was lifting him up bodily, carrying him to his death, and one was filming it.
Yeah.
Where are they now? Children, please think. Shopman, before we take some call, let's go to video E. I wanna label this as the feel good video of the week for me.
Feel good?
What? Yeah, it's a feel good video because you see we have plenty like these.
I suppose.
Yeah, we have plenty like these on our roads in Trinidad and Tobago. And I saw a guy yesterday raining the road wet, and this man throwing every gear. And I said, but what are you doing? You know, we watching some adults running on the walkover with children. The walkover right over the head still, and they crossing barrier to run across the road. And when they don't get the walkover now, the government don't care about we. Look, people getting bounced on here every day. They get the walkover now. The dogs using it more than them. I see dog climbing up walkover and crossing in and going on the next side. The dog have more sense than them. So let's show you the feel good video of the week, and then we take some calls. I laughed so hard when I saw this. You all wouldn't believe. Look at it. Look at those.
My Father's Day letter is dedicated to my superhero.
Short man.
Yeah, we're stressing out short.
Where are you going, sir? Everybo's trying to get through the flood water in an orderly fashion. You decide you want to overtake.
It's good. Oh God, it's good. I hope he drinks some of that water too when he was going on inside it.
And I'm sure that's not he trucky driving.
Yeah,
somebody trucky driving.
You will take care of your vehicle, right? No, but we have plenty like that on the road.
Yeah.
I just want to know how people just feel using shoulder and thing, knowing that, you know, why I can't do that.
Yes.
I cannot. I just can't. Tamika, you use shoulder. So because, because the way you endorse that, I say real good. Shame on you. No, but what's my boy news dive here? What is it? Full 10. I get 10 points for this dive here, partner. Whoever in the blue van, whoever you are. Thank you very much. Well, take a drink for that. Well, I hope nobody help him. I just hope so. Well, he looked for it, yes.
But yes,
flood waters, they're telling you take your time in flood waters. He decided he overtaken and take a drink for that partner. Happy Father's Day to you. Let's take some calls. 622-3937. And to those of you on YouTube, Facebook, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe to the channel while you're there. On YouTube, please. Thanks. And on Facebook as well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Father's Day. That I heard you say something there, sorry, but I'll give it crossing walk over. Down in Cocorate, right? You know they have a walk over there. I think I going upstairs about. I'm walking on the road. I saw a woman with a dog. The woman tried to ask the woman, see that dog was on a car here. We said, no way. That dog taking the time I crossed over and walk over. That you won't believe. About 3 weeks back, somewhere around me, I was walking for that dog in the summer. So I go and buy a house here, you know. So I go and walk across. And I saw
Larry?
Hello?
Happy Father's Day, all right?
Yes, but let me finish the story now. The man get killed. The man will get killed. Hello? You heard me?
All right, Larry, go ahead, Larry. I can't fight you.
Wait, I want to finish the story. I saw the man crossing the highway, crossing over, and I say, hello, do not take that shot. 2 weeks after, or 3 weeks, I more a man get killed, another worker. So I assume it to be the same man, then take my heat. I don't have all the tell you. Okay.
All right, Larry. Thanks very much. Happy Father's Day to him. I hope he's alive still.
Yes.
All right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to God and Natasha.
Morning.
To the officers and to you incarcerated gentlemen there. Well, and I always looked on, whether on YouTube or watch, and I'd go on and do what you say as usual. I like it, and I put my comment. So don't think that I'll stop listening to all the locked on as usual. So to the fathers, I know that the incarcerated gentlemen, I can't tell you enjoy, because I just saying have a blessed and hopeful one.
Thank
well,
you very
God
much.
and they, you all going home to family, so I could say enjoy. So I know how it is. So gentlemen, you stay up, stay strong, and let's hope that a day will come where you could come out and freely hug and kiss up your children. And
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
you all keep up the good program as always, and I'll try to find out more about those tickets for they to support your curriculum.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Gina. Thanks a lot.
Have a blessed one.
622-3937. And so you can call us now as we come to the end of another special Father's Day program with you here. We hope that you've learned from what you heard here this morning. We hope that it will help you to turn things around, whatever you're doing right now, so that you can continue to serve your family and be a good model citizen for youngsters to follow, because we're running out of responsible adults in Trinidad and Tobago from videos that's circulating day after day after day. Man, we in for a rough ride. Who's leading by example right now? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Could I just make a suggestion to the people who are incarcerated?
Say that again?
Could I make a suggestion to the people who are incarcerated?
Go ahead. Once is a good one.
We are being taught, as being raised up by Christians, that they should just stick to the Bible. But I'm suggesting that since they have time on their hands, try to read not only Bible, but check out the Holy Quran. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I follow all. I read all. I have read all, in fact. The Bible, the Quran, piece of the Bhagavad Gita, and the Vedas, pieces, not the whole thing, that's pieces.
Okay. So 622-3937. Good morning.
Bible. But check out the Holy Quran.
Jenny.
Thank you.
What you said?
I don't know. He a little
Could you repeat that, sir?
Hello?
Go ahead, sir. Repeat, please.
Hello? You're calling on me now.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, God.
Go ahead, you're live,
Good morning.
sir. Go ahead. Morning to you. Happy
Good morning,
Father's
God. Natasha, and
Morning.
happy Father's Day to all the fathers and the father figures in the studio. It's a special day because employees work from sun up to sundown, but our Father's Day is never done. Blessed day to you all, brethren, and try and make the most of your time. So when you come out, you'll be able to teach the youths and them to walk the straight and narrow road. God bless. Same trip home.
Yeah, man. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Good morning to you. 622-3937. Good morning. Go ahead. You're live on the air.
Morning.
Good morning, Gat and Natasha and
morning.
Officers there and the two inmates.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Gat. I want,
sir.
I said something there. In terms of the rehabilitation process, I don't know, but I think I find that word incarcerated sounds so, like slavery, boy. Like if in chains and this kind of thing. I do this incarcerated. It reminds me of slavery and ancient prison and Spanish imprisonment. I wonder if we could change that word for serving time or something, God, boy.
I understand your sentiments, sir, but it's an internationally accepted term.
Which means to imprison or confine.
Yeah.
So in essence, it's just another descriptor for someone who is confined,
Right.
in this case, or imprisoned, confined to a prison.
Yeah, so...
And confined to a prison or something, so serving time in prison. This incarcerated sounds so like chains and this kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Like I said, I understand your sentiments, I understand your feeling, but we could advocate for a change, yes. Changes are happening, especially in our institutions here. It's slow, but sure. And with this new government, I know a lot have been already, planned for prisons especially. So let's just wait and see if the language that will...
Language will change. But yeah, thanks for allowing me this opportunity to say this. Thanks a lot, God.
Hello, good morning. You're live on the air. Go ahead.
Morning, sir. I called earlier. I was suggesting that the people who are incarcerated, that since they have time on their hands, don't only read the Bible, but please check out the English interpretation of the Holy Quran.
And the gentleman responded, and he said he has done that. And so, yes, we agree with your suggestion, and they will continue to do so.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good morning. You're live on the air. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm trying to get into the high dependency program.
Yes, you're live. Go ahead.
Your name is talking right now, but go ahead, Phil.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Sound like you're calling from overseas.
All right. So my contribution is this. The first thing I wanted to say, three quick things. Some people are not just living a life of crime. Some of the people who are even away from their family and missing them, and the family missing them too, are people who might have figured what the act that they did was to show or prove the love that they have for their family. That they are trying to show, well, I love you so much, I love my kids so much, I do this for them, I do that for them. But yeah, but a lot of people mention that they should really take a step back and think before they act, because sometimes the loving thing would be to teach your children. Sometimes it's good to walk away, like Kenny just said song. You don't always have to fight to be a man. That is one of the things. The other thing I want to share is that I don't think you all are saying enough of how the viewers could contribute to the program. And also I just want to say to the listeners that we might think that our contribution is insignificant if it's not a whole lot, but it don't have to be a whole lot. Every little bit would be able to help the program to grow, and we want it to grow. And finally, I would really like to Dr. Gad probably off the air. My name is Sanford Brown. I called in from New York, but I'm Sanford Brown. I would like to talk to Gad off the air. So maybe I should leave my number. My number is 347.
You
go ahead.
He giving a number? Oh, we're recording your number here and I'll call you.
Oh, you have it there?
Yes.
All right.
All right?
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. To all of you, Natasha, you want to share? We share out the comments from Facebook especially, and I'll say good morning to Rena, Joy, Catherine, Gloria. Good morning to all of you, and thanks for your continued support for our Dependency. And please remember, if you're new to the channel, please remember to like and subscribe. Natasha, you want to share some?
So, I mean, most of the comments are pretty self-explanatory. Yes, greetings. Right. And there was one comment from Pearl, I think, at the start of the show where she said, a very tear-filled letter from Adish's daughter shows how children adore parents, even if incarcerated. I thought that was an instructive comment, and it is true. Society may hate you, but your children will always love you.
Not only that,
right?
what about you know how children can be cruel too.
Yes,
Sometimes you go to school and the children
you know
who
your
know
father
that
in prison.
your father is a jailbird, you can't talk to me.
Yeah.
I've
been through that.
You've experienced that?
Yeah, experienced that.
That's one of the things my daughter would not tolerate. Yeah. Anyone saying anything bad about me. Yeah. She would always defend it.
Yeah. But still, how many times you would have experienced?
Well, even getting the people to contribute these letters, some of them saying that people don't know their father in prison, right? Some of them who work, they don't want people to know on their job that their father is incarcerated in prison. So they some ask if to be anonymous. So could I be anonymous? Could I just send a letter? He will know who it's from. And, we have that connection. Plenty of the people was saying. One of the problems that we encountered is, there are a lot of, as I say, mothers give up on the husband or the child father in prison. And, it wasn't there for the child. So I don't want the child write no letter because they will talk their heart and then you're vexed with me. That kind of thing. We went through a lot. You understand? So it is something as cruel as it could be. People will say that, you can't talk to me, you're a jailbird. You're a bully. And with the invert of bullying now, that is an easy thing to tease one another with. And, we wanted not to highlight anybody, but we wanted to show that the bigger picture.
Men are still love.
Men are still love. You understand? And especially daughters for their father. They would.
Men are still love them.
You see, God?
I remember there was a woman across that women's prison. For the majority of her sentence, she told her grandchildren that granny's on a holiday or vacation. And she told her daughters to tell them the same thing. I mean, they were young, but when they got older, they started asking the question, so if granny's on vacation, why can't we visit her? And then when they started the family picnic, they eventually came across, and the reality kicking that, here, my granny is in prison. But for years, she carried that story that she's on a vacation. And I mean, a lot of people are ashamed. No one wants to be, recognized or in connection with a family member being incarcerated. So.
One of the things you all said earlier was that what we do to keep the bond with our children. I think one of the most instrumental part of that is the ones on the outside, whether it be the children's mommy. In my case, was the children's grandmother. She took the role of the mommy and everything, and she was the one who keeps speaking to them and letting them know, that's your father, and you understand. And that was really, really helpful.
I agree.
If it wasn't for her, I think it would not have been as strong as the bond would not have been as strong as it is now.
I agree.
So it's not just us alone. It takes some work on the outside as well too. And if the mummies are willing to do it, in most cases, as we are hearing here that the moms will probably say that in prison and, you know, try to not have much to do with them or probably talk down about them. In my case, my daughter wasn't willing to hear that, even though her mommy had that to say, but the grandmother was the one who would really let them know, you know, if your dad was here, you all couldn't do this and you couldn't do that because you I was kind of strict with them, but there was a time for everything with me. You understand? And they understood me like that. You understand? But, you know, I always thank her for that. She has done more than required.
And now, you know, the grandmother is not the grandmother on Adish's side. The grandmother is the grandmother on the mother's side.
Yes.
So although Adish and his wife got divorced, her mother still kept that relationship with him. Because Adish said, you know, while he was out there being hardworking and stuff, his mother-in-law saw that.
Yes.
So, you know, she will tell her grandchildren, still keep that connection with your father.
I used to go through the same thing with my aunt. My aunt is the person who take care of my daughter when I left with the free will, and she used to make sure and preach to my daughter, despite what the public might say or people on the outside might say your father was a good man. He used to do things for you, so don't turn your back on him. She used to make sure and keep the bond. Wherever family there, she bring in my daughter. She would come and pictures, everything, keep everything. So.
And you know, and I could imagine for the mother who accustomed to say, wait till your father come home.
Yeah.
And knowing that she about to say that and realize, oh shucks, he ain't coming home.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real wake
But
up
God,
call.
you know, the conversation that we have in society about holding parents accountable for their children's behavior. In instances like these, where the parent is the one who has run afoul of the law in that sense, who then keeps it going, or reminds the public that it's not an isolated incident. This is a human being who has a family. Yes, he or she may have committed a crime, but they still have relatives who care about them, who love them, who are concerned about them.
Yes.
And I think that is the connection that we miss when we want to jump up and say, yes, put them in jail and do this and do that. But understand that it's not just the individual that you're talking about. That individual has a family.
I think
that loves them.
The best way to put it, you know, when Granny say when the well runs dry and you can't get nothing from it, there is a percentage of people who have no form of connection with their fathers because their fathers are not physically here. So for me, coming from that side of the fence with my daughter, I think this by itself, it's on a higher scale where children still have the opportunity to communicate, to connect, to think of, to share whether it's a picnic, whatever it is the prison offers. I just hope that children see it from that perspective. I may not be able to interact with him every day, but there are children who don't have it at all.
Yes. So let's take one more before we wrap up. Hello, good morning.
Hello? Yes. God.
Yes, go ahead, so you're live on the air.
The caller who said he wanted to change the incarcerated thing to simply call it CV, compulsory vocation. Thank you.
Still, you know, at least the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service has evolved. We have 2 people incarcerated in studio here with us. We have been doing it for a number of years. So that says a lot about the way we see restorative justice now. Tell us quickly about how Rise Maximum Radio could help. How do you all help foster these connections with the family and the outside world?
In one of the interview, Father spoke about how Rise Maximum Radio was able to help him by just one simple thing. We have a request show every Saturday. So family could call and send a voice note. And he said by just hearing his daughter or his son send a request for him or a voice note to say, play my father's favorite tune. He said that he was the most proud of that. And he said that is one thing you'll always cherish about the radio station. And that is just one part of it. Right. You understand? Some of the programs that one of the things we develop it especially for the people within the system. To listen, to acknowledge some of the mistakes they make, you understand? forget the prison for now, but you have to focus on life on the outside and how you prepare for when you go to your family, things that you change your mindset, your attitude, your behavior. When you go back out there, you're going back a complete different person. You're not going back the same person. So on the radio station, people still say they don't know the prison have its own radio. You understand? And like to thank you again, God. I say you are the godfather of that project, and we are going from strength to strength. You understand? So we're encouraging people to take a look at the YouTube channel. It's something because of time and the amount we have, we couldn't do all in one video. So we're doing it in different parts. So you expect some coming up in the near future. Right. So look out for that.
Right, so look out for Rise Maximum Radio on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Quickly, as we prepare to wrap up, because we have news coming up at 12 with Kyle Saunders. Ms. Ega, tell us, how can the public support? Sometimes the public still cannot wrap their mind around reintegration and restoration. Tell the public how they can continue to support.
We have so many examples, on rehabilitation, reintegration. We have society. We have to give persons chances. A lot of times when someone comes out, the public, the community, is not willing to accept. But you have to give persons chances to see how they have changed. And there are people, God, who have actually changed, while in prison. Yes. I mean, you listen to Adish said that he came in and he probably thought he wasn't going to do any subjects. He did. Right. He did anger management. You have seen a complete change. He's with us in the radio station, and he takes his job. You realize that he's a hard worker. Yes. He's one of the how should I put it? Still
the fathers.
The fathers. Yeah. Nothing at all. You're making sure news is there. Everything is on time. Yeah. So give them an opportunity. Give them a chance.
It makes us feel good that we decided to do this, and we thank the Ministry of Justice. Thank God they're back. And we hope to continue with more going forward. Final thoughts. Quickly, 30 seconds.
I just want to say, in growing up, we should consider our morals and values and so on, and think before we act. Don't just make a spur decision, a spur the moment decision, because this is the results of it in most instances. The rest of your life. Yes.
Pernell?
Don't be guided by emotion. Don't let emotions get the better of you, especially in a difficult situation. Think. Take a step back and take a deep breath before you just rush into anything. It could cost you a lot.
Indeed. So as we wrap up today's Father's Day special, we want to thank our guests, our listeners, and of course our partners at Rise Maximum Radio and the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service, who make this powerful connection possible every year.
Yes, to fathers behind bars, we see you. The children and families holding on to the love, we honor you. And to our listeners, we hope this conversation sparks compassion and reflection in your own lives.
This episode brought to you as usual by the Counter Trafficking Unit, Ministry of Homeland Security. And remember, Dependency is not just a show, it's a movement. And we don't just share stories, we change lives.
Catch the replay on Facebook or YouTube and visit independency.org to learn more. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and please take care of each other. Major news up next at 12.